All right. Come on in, everybody. We're broadcasting earlier than usual. We are live right now. So I'm going to give you all a few moments to come in and let the sites update with the fact that we are broadcasting. Um, I was arisen from my slumber today with a word, Parthenogenesis, right? Come in, everybody, come in. And I want you all, as you come in, to look up this word, parthenogenesis, just like Genesis from the Bible. Partheno, I'll put it up on the screen. Yeah. Parthenogenesis, right there. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Yes. There it is at the end of the screen here, where it says parthenogenesis. I want you to go ahead and Google that word, and I'll give you all a few moments to Google that, and then we'll continue talking. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I am your host, Tanya TKO. Right now, it is before sunrise, and I awoke from my slumber with this word rotating round and round in my mind, and I had an epiphany. For those of you who know, I'm getting ready to go on a 5-week healing journey, a fasting journey, where I'll be doing meditations and yoga in the sun and sunrise meditations, yoga in the ocean. I'm going to be doing an internal cleanse, sauna, um, oh, amazing things, right? And so to prepare for that, I've been fasting and cleansing before I even get there, right? I'm going to be in 3 parts of the world. Hawaii, on a very grounded, um, EMF free, high vibrational island, right? Then I'm coming to Florida and then Sedona. So I'm going to be in 3 really magical places, or 3 places that are magical for different reasons, right? And so I want us to, I see somebody talking about, already coming in, talking about, here, look. So I see the comments have started to come in, right? Okay. And I'll tell you all how all of this came about, right? So basically, so listen, we were just talking. We were just talking. Yesterday we did a video saying that God is a woman. And there were some people who began to lose their minds with this thought. Let me make sure the text notification squad has gotten their text, because I know it's early. Okay. Text notification squad just got their text. Perfect. So you all are going to start coming in. Wonderful. All right. So we had this conversation yesterday about God being a woman, and basically only talking about it from an energetic standpoint, from a spiritual fight. From a spiritual vibration point of the energy of God being more on the side of feminine creation and feminine divinity, rather than rooted in the masculine and the high vibrational masculine, right? But really rooted in the air of gentleness and selflessness and loving, nurturing creationness, right? And so catch up on that yesterday, Lauren. All right. And I got into a conversation with a man on Facebook where I told him, because he was like, if God is a woman, then why do women only have X chromosomes, right? And I said, your limited understanding of chromosomes and your in our limited understanding as human beings, right, has no bearing on information that exists outside of our scope of knowledge and understanding. And I know that I had heard, I'm not sure how many of you remember Alexis K. Tyler. I remember years ago, because we were on YouTube at the same time in the very beginning, right? And years ago, she made a statement during a show with another woman where they were talking about divine femininity. And they talked about how long ago, in the absence of men, that women would spontaneously become impregnated with no men, right? And so when I told this guy that, our limited understanding of society, et cetera, right? And I Googled what is the word for creating life inside of your womb without a man. And I got a whole lot of stuff about IVF and all types of stuff in vitro fertilization and all of this stuff. And I just kept searching and searching, doing different things in my Google search. And then I came up with this word, parthenogenesis, right? And I told the guy, because I thought that he was interested in an earnest dialogue. I told him, I said, listen, Google this word parthenogenesis. And then he came back with some, oh, well, because I said, Google parthenogenesis. I said, regardless of what it is that we understand about chromosomes, etc., a man has never pushed a child out of his penis, ever, ever. And then he came back, he never Googled the word, and I could tell from his response because he was like, oh, well, you still need semen. And I'm like, you didn't even, I'm like, willfully ignorant. You didn't even Google the word. All he had to do was cut and paste. So I decided not to let the conversation die there. I decided to but this morning I had this epiphany talking about self-insemination. What if, what if Mary, mother of Jesus, self-inseminated? That's if Jesus was a man that lived at all. But the story came from somewhere. And I'm hearing that the story of Mary and this virgin birth, because men have placed the word virgin. The word virgin doesn't exist in some other languages. But men have created this word, a person, mainly for a woman. Let's think, how many men do you know who talk about losing their virginity, losing it as if it's something that's lost, like something that you don't, like an experience that you don't share with another human being. But nonetheless, men have created this word with the stigma attached to a woman having intercourse versus non-intercourse. So in their mind, they came up with this story of the virgin birth. But what if, because I wrote back to this guy, I'm like, I had this epiphany. I'm like, Mary, the woman of the religion that you claim to worship in, didn't need a man to inseminate. She self-inseminated according to their own stories. But instead of the story that's told about this divine feminine, about this divine woman who in her divinity created child in her womb without the need of fertilization from a man. So that the story that they told is the divinity of the male child that she birthed, instead of the divinity that existed inside of the woman who was the keeper of the womb who birthed said child. So that when the stories are told, it is told from the vantage point of man. That it is told from the vantage point of the male. Because in the story of Mary self-inseminating, there are men at the top, men at the bottom. A male in the sky is said to inseminate her with spirit semen. Because if God, listen, semen is a human construct that carries the DNA of humans. A God has no need for semen. A God has no need for a penis. A God does not have a belly button, because anyone with a belly button came through the womb of woman. Everyone. But we negate these things and we come up with these stories about ribs and women birthed from ribs of a man, when there is no instance anywhere in history that a man has ever given birth to a woman. However, we have We have proof of the opposite, that all human life passes through the portal of womb holder. But yet, when we tell the story of Mary, we tell the story of a male inseminating her from the sky and her giving birth to a male, and that the divinity passed through her but was not her. Did you know that Christianity was a cult after the so-called death of Jesus, or death of a so-called person named Jesus? It was a cult. And it was Mary herself who traveled around the land telling people of the tale of this person, this alleged tale of this person named Jesus. It was Mary. And we know many instances of female authors and painters who could not get their work seen, who could not have their work shown, who could not be taken seriously, who did not have merit unless they claimed that their husband did it. So now we hear this story of Yeshua, this story of Jesus, this story of Jehovah Jireh, a male person who came through the womb of a woman who self-inseminated by their own accounts. Listen to what it is that I'm saying. But there's so many of us who have believed the spin, and we refuse to examine what it is that we've learned, that the Bible is so male-leaning and so male-identified and so anti-woman, that many of the women of the Bible that you hear about are these conniving betrayers and backstabbers who cut off people's hair and eat apples and who have to suffer for the rest of eternity and perpetuity because she was so evil, vile, turned from the way of God, instead of the fact that she is God, that human life comes through her, that the person, the highest King of Kings that you consider him, came through the Queen of Queens. And that this Queen of Queens was a woman of color. We know the image of the original Madonna. We know this image. We know that Nubian womb holders, keepers of the womb, have this quote unquote Eve gene, but let's not negate the fact that Lilith is removed from the text that you all read, right? That this Nubian womb holder here, we know that Nubian women have the Eve gene. Through her womb, through her genetics, all variations of life come forth. We see the dark brown child with the golden hair. We see the dark brown baby cupped in her arms. We see the tan baby with red hair. We see the brown skinned baby with black hair. And we see the melanin-less white skinned baby with the blonde hair, clutched, holding on to the riches near skeletal face. So much symbolism. So much symbolism. But we know the image of the original Madonna being one of a very rich melanated woman. But when the story was told and when the painting was made, it was made in the likeness of the oppressor, with limp golden hair and melanin deficient skin, knowing that the region that this person came from, that they could not have been melanin deficient. In the very Bible itself, it describes Jesus with skin like burnt copper, or is it burnt brass, and hair of wool. But when we think about how the story is told, and I want us to think, right? Because this man who was talking to me in my comments, he was talking to me about the chromosomes and XYZ and this and other. But he didn't mention how all fetuses are female up until a certain period in the gestation. All fetuses present as female. until the shift begins to happen from that Y chromosome. He didn't mention that. But I want us all to take the time to think about what it is that we've been taught. I want us to take the time to think about what it is that we've been told and whether or not what we've been taught and what we've been told can be re-examined in another way. Because if we don't take the time to question our beliefs, then we'll just be believing what we are told. And there may be people who have an agenda for what it is that they're telling you. And what is that agenda? Because we see that the people who are at the lowest level of the social racial hierarchy is the Black woman. But the Black woman is God. The Black woman, and the evidence is all around us. The evidence is all around us. Yet, we are believing the story translated through the mouths and hands of white men, who then use that translation to go around the world with this book, enslaving. How is that in the Spirit of God in the very book that you read? So that they then started highlighting text about slaves obey your master. But why are slaves and servitude and suffering a thing promoted? Why is subjugating a thing promoted in this text of yours? I know, excuse my face, I'm so tired. I'm so fatigued right now. After we finish this video, I'm gonna go get some rest. I'm gonna give you some moments to comment. Listen. No, that can't happen. The spirit is your mind. The white woman represents the wrath. It would make sense that Eve comes before Adam because Christmas Eve comes before. I see people got jokes. Why do women undress in public? Why do people wear clothes at all? Why are we wearing clothes? Because of the shame associated with our beautiful human bodies. In what better way could the body be more beautiful than nude? Come on. All right. I see. There's some people, it's a little early still. It's a little early. So what I'll do is I'll leave this video right here for you all to comment on as you see fit and pontificate with me on this. And when I say God is a woman, right, we are all fragments of the ray of the light of God, all of us. All together, the consortium of us makes God. There were some people who were saying that I'm going to be punished for saying what it is that I'm saying. And I'm like, punished by who? And then why would people want to worship at the altar of a God with very petty human characteristics? Go read the book, Conversations with God. I'll type it in the comment section. Read the book, listen to the audio. Conversations with God, part 1 through 3. It's by Neil Donald Walsh. This book will answer, and Khadijah, a woman, a womb holder, is saying, the man comes first, not woman, the man, the man. You see it, right? The vitriol, the expression, the urgency to let us know. By what proof, besides what it is that you've been told, by what proof do you have that man came first? In all actuality, and you see the name Khadijah for many people is a Muslim name, and we know that in the Muslim faith that there are many people who have made it very male identified. it wasn't until I went into the Middle East and spent some months there and navigating there that I realized that womb holders are revered in Islam, in Muslim countries. Well, let me just rewind that. Womb holders are revered. We get special seating on the bus. We get special places. Nobody can walk. If I'm in the store in a Muslim country and a man needs to come in and the aisle is not large enough, he cannot enter that store until I leave, because there is no brushing against my body. There's no crowding my space. There is no touching me. He has to wait outside the store. I went into a barber shop when I was in Kuwait, and they had to close the shop so that no men came in while I was in there. Women are revered in these Muslim countries. Well, in Islam, Muslim are revered. But men have taken that and become very, very male identified in the religion, and then have thus oppressed the feminine and found ways to suppress and oppress. And so the name Khadija for many is a Muslim name. And I don't know where her mode of thinking is coming from. But look, we're having a dialogue. Let's discuss. Where are you getting your thoughts from? Where are you getting your thoughts from? When we talk about God being a woman, the energy of God, the spirit, because God has no need for penis or DNA or any of those things. A vagina, God has no need, has no DNA. But why is it that we are so bent on positing that this energy is a male energy, especially given what it is that we know of maleness, of masculinity, etc.? So I want us all to think about that. All right? So listen, on that note, thank you all so much for coming out. I appreciate you all coming out. If you want greater context, please go to the video that we created yesterday. We created a video yesterday entitled God is a Woman, and there were many people who are still arguing on that video right now. We will come back with regular programming today because we need to talk about some things that are not high vibrational, right? And so we will do those things. I need to rest up and meditate and get my rest before that, because I need to be strong to talk about this topic. A popular manosphere, one of the originals, got into a near physical altercation with a womb holder on a popular podcast. And we're going to watch this and we're going to disseminate how this same popular male person, please do not put this man's name in my comments, how when a man approached him with violence, he behaved in a much different way. And for those of you who are at the end of this video who have some of those clips, I want you to send them to me, TanyaTKO.com. Click on contact and send me the clips, because this man got into an altercation with two men. And when he got into these altercations with two black men, he behaved in a much different way than the two times that he publicly got into altercations with black women. And so we are moving and navigating in such a way that we revere the masculine. And men, especially men that are melanin deficient, have used the teachings, the contorted teachings that they have created to keep you mentally and in many cases physically, the same people who are so morally bankrupt that every place that they step foot on this earth, destruction and devastation has followed. Those same people who come into my comments and tell me, don't worry about race, when they're the ones who made us worry about race. When they're the ones and they're gaslighting that still make us worry about race. What is it that they benefit? And you have to understand that they benefit from keeping you ignorant, from you staying ignorant. They benefit because they get to stay in power. They get to stay above. They get first pick of the resources. But yes, let's go. Let's go. Send me those links if you can. Leave your comments below. I will see you all in the next video. Tanya TKO, and I am out. Go out there and love one another. Most importantly, love yourself. And part of loving yourself is undoing some of the programming, questioning your own beliefs, and rewriting with common sense, with nature, with biology, with history, with fact checking, with theorizing and pontificating with other people. Please question your beliefs. Listen, question your beliefs. Do you hear me? Question your beliefs. Question the things that you've been told. Question the ways in which you've been programmed. And when you question these programs, I want you to think back and look back onto who has benefited from that programming. Who has benefited from you continuing to believe the things that they have taught you and the things that they have taught themselves, which place themselves at the highest of the hierarchy, while she, who is creator of all, is at the lowest part of the hierarchy. We already know about the mapping of the globe and the size of Mama Africa and how she was placed on the bottom when the map was originally supposed to be drawn the other way. And on that note, I will let that sink in. Listen to what it is that I'm saying. Hear me. Hear me. Leave your comments below. As always, be respectful. There's lots of great dialogue. And if you are going to make a statement, please provide proof for your statement besides what someone else has told you. And on that note, I am out. Go out there and love one another. Most importantly, love yourself.